Hi, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the Maker's Cave, and today we are going to continue with our build of the Agora models ladder truck number 9 of the Fire Department of New York. Like I said, this will be pack 9. We're getting close to the end. I think we're going to be doing some ladder work today, and some tower work. So I'll put the link below to this build and any other builds by Agora, because they're certainly fun to do. So what I'll do is we'll bring you guys forward, give you a top down, and we'll start building. We're going to start off with stage 58, but I want to bring your attention as you unpack this stage. There are some little pieces, so you want to make sure that you keep an eye on them, especially these two little door handles are very, very small. First thing we're going to start off with is this cabinet they included. Here is the front of the cabinet with a hinge, so we're just going to glue that right onto here with some super glue. We're going to take our toothpick now that we have the cabinet door on here, you're going to take one of these little door handles and you're going to fit it right into here. Now they say this gets press fit in here. I might have to use some pliers for this. Hold this here. Now the directions say that this is a press fit, but I can tell you right now that this door handle is very loose. So what I think I'm going to do is I want to keep my finger on the door handle. We're going to open it up like this. And right in the back here, 2 holes where the pegs go through. We're just going to drop a little bit of super glue right on there. Nice and thin. Hit it with some zip kicker. And now that door handle's in there nice and strong. Next we're going to take this front storage unit. There's a little recess, and this red lens is going to go pop right into there. Again, they say this is a press fit, and this one is. You can feel that's nice and tight. That's not going anywhere. Next, we're going to take our other door handle. And it's going to go right there. That little bit of super glue held that in there. And there's also a door lock that came here. It's keyed, only go in one way, but I am going to put some super glue in and around that hole. There we go. Now you're going to turn this part around, and right in here, you can see there's a little recess right here. You're going to want to put a little bit of glue there, because you're going to take this piece and slide that in there. Now on this piece, one side of this has no diamond plating on here. Okay, so that's going to go behind this piece. So let's take some super glue. Now I'm also going to put some right up along this edge here, just a little. Now we're going to slide this panel down. And while we're working on this piece, you want to orient this storage cabinet right like this, and then you're going to take that cabinet we built, and it's going to slide right in here with the hinge side of the cabinet over here. So now that cabinet sits in there real nice. Take your storage cabinet now, and you're going to take this section right here, and you're just going to press this right on top of here. And it says to use some glue if necessary, but you know what? Better safe than sorry. I'm going to put some on these lugs. And just press fit this right down on top. So I think this storage cabinet's done. Stage 58 is all done. We put this cabinet together, and you're going to have this pipe left over. So we'll move on to stage 59 now. Here's the parts for stage 59, and there's a lot of little tiny parts, so you want to be very careful, like in the previous stage, taking these out. There's some footrests that are very small. There's a couple springs. They're very small. You don't want to lose them. These springs especially like to bounce around, so keep an eye on everything. Start off stage 59 with this boom support. And the boom support, or actually the control lever, and that slides right into this opening. There's little pinions right here that slide into some brackets. So you've got that in here. And then you're going to take this tie right here that they call it, and that's going to lay right on top. And it gets held in with 2 D screws. That's what it looked like all assembled. After closer examination, I realized I put this bar on backwards, so I got to unscrew this and flip it around. Taking the bar out, I flipped it around. There's a small cutout that's got to go towards the front up here. We're going to be working on the boom hinges now. That are these pieces. And on the one, you can see there's a little raised end. That's got to go against the wall of the boom support. And you're going to take one of your long screws that came in here, and it goes into this hole. And holding the piece like this. Whoop. So now it's on here, and there's a little shaft right at the end of this boom hinge right here. So you're going to take one of your springs, and the loop's going to go over the end of that. And right down here there's a little shaft that's going to get a K screw, and what's going to happen is this spring is going to come down over top of the spring. When you're assembling this, here is that control piece we put on here, the little gray piece right. Let's see if I can show it to you right there. Okay, and this end of the hinge right here has to go above that. So it has to sit like that. And then you take your spring right here. Some rapid tap. And that spring is going to go right into that. Now we're going to do the exact same on the opposite side over here. Both are in there. Now that's all assembled. All you do is take one of the nuts, The nut is on. Now we're going to move on to the turntable. I'm going to grab that, and you want to grab this spring that included with it, and you just want to place it right on top here so it stays there. Now I also want to note that if you flip this over, there's a metal plate that's under here. It's not attached to this plastic top piece, but they have to stay together. So now that we have that spring in there, you're going to take your boom that you just did there, take that shaft right there. You're going to put that through here. Now you got the boom controls sitting on here. There's 2 holes, and they are going to get some C screws. Got the 2 C screws. They're in. There's the control button box. That's going to go on top of here. Okay. And then the C screw is going to go into that post. And that button works. These hinges right here, as you can see as I'm pushing that, they move. You want to go back to stage 58, get the cabinet you put together, and take your turntable, and you notice there's 2 holes, and there's 2 holes in the bottom of the cabinet. So the cabinet, like this, with this cabinet door on the outside, goes right on there, and if you flip it over, you'll see there are 2 holes, and they are for some C screws. Rotate your turntable so it looks in this position. You're going to take your hose nozzle, and we're going to put that right on there. I may have to paint that because I really don't think it should be all white. I went and did some quick research, and I can't find exactly. This is actually called a hose connector. It's not a nozzle, I don't think. Still, I find it hard to believe this would be all white. But I did find that this pipe that they sent along in stage 58, there's little rings right here, little tightening rings right here. I'm trying to think of what the heck clamps. Good Lord, clamps right here, and there's one here. They are supposed to be silver. So while I've got this separated, I'll be right back. I'm going to go paint those up in silver. Okay, I'm back. I used my Molotow. Oh, hold on. My Molotow 1mm liquid chrome. I ended up just chroming it. A little shinier than aluminum is supposed to be, but you know what? I definitely think it adds a little bit more to this. So once we install this later on, I think it'll look nice. Still going to do some more research on this hose connector though. Coming back from our painting diversion, you can see that there's 2 holes on the turntable, and they're going to receive these 2 step, and I think they are D-shaped, so they're only going one way, and we're definitely going to use some super glue on them. Now flipping it around this way, you can see there's 2 holes, and that is for the grab rail that we're just going to put in. Again, we're just going to put a little bit more super glue on this. Grab rail is installed. So continuing on, you want to go back to stage 47, your parts, and you want to grab this gear, and there is an alignment hole, and there is a pin right here on the bottom of your turntable, and you put the gear on there, the pin goes in the alignment, and then these 2 get held on here with a B screw. Gear is now on the bottom of the turntable. This is where things can get interesting. Because now we're going to move this up here. You're going to go back and you want to get your chassis. The directions say they want you, before we put the main body onto the chassis, they want us to tape down all these wires so they're, I guess they're nice and secure. So I'm just going to use some painter's tape because we just need to hold it until the chassis is in place. Now you want to be careful, there's two holes, you don't want to cover them up. Now on the chassis you want to locate this pin right up here. It's kind of hard to see black on black, but this is the pin where you move back and forth that turns the wheels. Now right up here there are a couple brackets. There's a couple slots right in here. You want to slide this, put that into there, so those bottom of the chassis, or the chassis, is attached to the frame. I got these two hooked in here, which was not easy at all. I actually had to turn the camera off. It was taking so long. That's why you didn't get to see me to do it. In the process, we broke off, a step here, and we broke off a step over here. So I'll have to glue that back in. I think the pin for the steering did go in right. We'll have to find that out. Something else just broke off. There's no need for these to be tabbed to hold this in. They simply could have made a flat piece of metal that would have held this in here sticking straight up. You wouldn't have seen it, and it'd be easier than doing this hook thing. So now what we have to do is we have to take 6 J screws and we have to put them in positions all along here. So let's go get some J screws. Okay, in the previous clip you saw that we had the chassis on, but it wouldn't screw all the way down. It wouldn't even, the screws wouldn't even meet the holes. So what it was is all these wires were bunched and laying on top, keeping from laying flat. So what I did is I went back. Let's see if we can get you a close up here. And I hand laid each and every wire flat, going all the way back. And I super glued them in place. So they are perfectly flat. So the chassis should now sit, where it's supposed to. So let's put the chassis back on. Okay, you saw how I laid all the wires, glued them all flat. Put the chassis back on. Took some finagling, but I finally was able to squeeze it enough to get all 6 of the J screws to bite. These are the parts that all broke off while trying to get this bottom chassis assembled. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and I'm going to reattach all these. Hopefully I can get the outrigger to continue working. I'm going to do some gluing. Okay, I've glued on all the parts that were broke off. We put the chassis in. Here's the turntable we put in. What I wanted to show you though is I used some painter's tape to hold all the doors shut, so as I turn it I'm not snapping on the doors. I did fix the one outrigger, so that's working again. So let's move on. Well, now that we finally have that chassis all secured in the bottom, we're going to have to do this handrail that goes right back here on this turntable. The handrail that has to go in here came back in stage 47. So go back to your parts from 47. You're going to grab the handrail, and you're going to have to get 2 of these tiny little washers right here. Now there's 2 small circular recesses, and that is where the washers go. So there's the 2 washers that are in there. There's a small curve to the handrail, so it goes in like this. And they say that you just use a couple little the little legs fit right into the holes, and you're supposed to put some super glue in there to hold that into place. Just going to hit this real quick with some zip kicker to. Alright, so the handrail is in there. And with putting this handrail in, we are done with stage, was this 59? Yes, we are done with stage 59, so now we'll move on to 60. Here are all the parts for stage 60. You want to go back to your parts from stage 1 and stage 9 and grab these two nameplates. Okay, you also want to be careful that there's a lens in here for this spotlight, so you don't want to lose this. That came in stage 60. Now these two parts you're going to go back and get, the mounting brackets are different lengths. You know, one's shorter and one is longer. So we're going to start off stage 60 by putting aside the one with the longer legs. You're going to take the one with the shorter legs. You want to tip your side bed, what do they call it? Bed section, this left bed section. You're going to tip this up. The opening is back here. And you're just going to put the nameplate right in here. There are locating pins on here. And they're going to get held in with some C screws. So there is the nameplate all in there. And why we got it this way, there is a recess that this placard is going to go into. And you just need to put a little bit of glue on there. We'll just hold that there while it dries a little bit. Next, you're going to take the spotlight and the tiny little lens, and you're just going to put it right in there. Now, they want you to glue that in there, but you don't want to use super glue on this because it may frost the lens, so they want you to use some it's regular old PVA glue or Elmer's glue. Actually, when I went ahead and got the Mod Podge, I'm going to use that to put that lens in there. This dries clear just like regular old Elmer's glue. Comes out white, but it dries clear. Spotlight lens is in, and we're going to bring back the little bed section. Figuring out how it goes here. You're going to orient it just like this, and you're going to see right down here there's a hole, and that is where the spotlight's going to go. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on there. Once again, I think there's a little too much paint in here. I had to be really careful, but I did get the fit in there. It's a pretty tight fit, so you may not even need some glue, but we've got some glue in there just in case. And we're putting in that spotlight. This stage is done. Let's move on to 61. And here are the parts for 61. You've got the right bed section, and you've got another lens with another spotlight and another placard. And you want to go back and get the nameplate that's got the longer legs. First thing we're going to do is we're going to scrape the paint off of these lugs. Okay. I already added some rapid tap to this before I did the scraping. And now you're going to orient your right bed section with the opening to the back here. And you're just going to place the nameplate right on top here like we did before. You got those alignment pegs. And it fit in nice and snug this time because we already took off the excess paint. Now we're just going to put in the 4 C screws. 4 C screws are in there. Put a little bit of glue right where this recess is for the placard. Drop that in. Mod Podge for the spotlight. Now the placard's in, right over here is where the spotlight is going to go, and we're going to take some of that paint out of here now. Some very gentle persuasion, the spotlight is in there. And this stage is complete. Let's move on to 62. Here are the parts for 62. There's some pipes here, and again they have the clamps here. There's some there. There's some clamps over here on this pipe. I think I'm going to hit them with the Molotow chrome pen right here before we get started. So just to give them a little bit more of a feature. And the reason I'm doing it before I mount them is it's easier for me to handle them. All done. And the silver adds a little bit, or the chrome rather, adds a little bit to the pipes. Take your ladder bracket. You want to take your right bed section. That's the one with the longer mounting brackets. Turn it over, and you're going to put the ladder bracket with it facing out. And that's going to get held in with a C screw. Next, you want to take your two bed sections, lay them out like you see I have them, and you're just going to put these two halves together. There's some alignment posts. Flip it over to the side that has the nameplate with the longer legs, and there's holes right here for screws, type I screws. Next, we're going to take our boom cog and we're going to put that on here. And you want the one, however, there's a right and a left cog. There are alignment pins on the back. And when you set this in here, you know you have it right. There's a small bumper hub, and you want the teeth to face down like this. So you just press fit that on here, and you use two type C screws to hold it on. Now you'll just flip this over and do the same thing with the other cog. Now that you have both boom sections together, you want to bring back your chassis, and right here on the turntable there's holes on each one of these. Let's see if I can tip it and show it to you. Right in there. So you're going to take your boom like this with the cog end down here. You're going to slip this in here, and you go back to stage 59 and get your long screw here. The other end of the screw comes out, and you're going to take that nut that also came in stage 59, and you're going to put it on the end of that. I think I'm going to turn the truck around here. I'm going to hold the nut with the pliers. Alright, now that we have the screw in there and the nut, if you remember, we had pushed this little button in here we did with the little latches, and you can move the boom up Then you push the button and you're allowed to bring the boom down. Let me show you that all over again. So I'm going to push the little button here. Or actually, you don't even need to push the button. You just need to bring the boom up. And you can hear it clicking. Okay, and to lower it, that's when you push the button, which releases the holders against the cog, and the boom comes down. Pretty cool. Now we're going to fit the piston brackets onto this boom. They're going to go back behind the nameplates, and you want to orient. What I'll do is we'll show you this way. And what I'm going to do is the window. I still have the doors taped up so I can safely lay this on its side. There is a hole for an alignment, or actually, I'm sorry, the hole is for the screw. There's two posts right here for the alignment. You want to take the piston bracket, so the one that is for the left. It fits on like that, and it gets held in with an H screw. That's how the piston bracket should look once you have it screwed in. Now we're going to put the pistons onto the boom. So I'm going to elevate this out a little bit. I'm going to take the one boom right here, put this in. Bring this down. It's going to slide into this slot, into this piston bracket you just did. Line up the holes and use a type G. Once you have the holes lined up, you're going to use a type G screw. Put this in. I'm going to push our little button here. Allow me to bring the boom down. And I am going to flip it onto the other side. Take our piston and we're going to do the same thing. Again, I'm going to push the release button right back here. And the boom comes down and the pistons work. Now we're going to be doing some piping work. So you need to get to the back of where this boom is at. So you want to rotate your turntable. You'll see the hole right, right here. There we go. I'm doing this by the camera because it's away from me. So you take this pipe that you got back in 59, I believe. There is a hole in the turntable. So this pin goes into that hole. So that's how that pipe fits in there. Next you take your pipe that looks like this. Put it into there. Next you take your the remaining pipe. Looks like this one. And there's a D shape on the bottom here that's going to go right onto this. Now it's very important that you don't glue any of these pipes right now because they have to move freely. So now here's all your piping in place, and as you can see, that detailing of the chrome that stands out a little bit. That's pretty nice. I forgot to tell you that in order to move the turntable you got to bring the outriggers down, but I'm sure you guys figured that out by now. So this is the end of this stage. I guess the next one would be pack 10, or not the end of the stage, the end of this pack, pack 9. So I guess we're going to move on to pack 10 when that arrives, and we'll do some more stuff. We do have some piping left over. We had some screws left over. I put them away. But here's what we've got so far. It's getting there. Pack 10 is some parts. I know Pack 11, I believe, is the diorama back of the firehouse, so that's really not truck work. And then we got 12, so we only really have 10 and 12 left, and then this will be all complete. So that brings us to the end of Pack 9. The next one is Pack 10. That should be here shortly. We'll get the video out for that. If you're doing this model, I hope maybe some of the things I did here helped you out. I'll put a list below to I'll put a link below to this build and Agora's other builds. I'll also put a link to all the tools and supplies that I used today to put this together, and in the previous videos, any tools or supplies that I used. So I guess that's it for today. I'm Steve. Thanks for stopping by the Maker's Cave, and I'll catch you at the next build.